like the one in the relationship who holds all the power is the one who cares the least. And I remember watching that movie and it was like, I'm about to be the greatest real estate broker of all time. That is the golden nugget right there.
Honestly, Ryan Pineda, Ryan Serhant, I can't even believe they were in Vancouver.
Returns become exponential because that just keeps compounding on itself over and over. It's kind of like a referral network, right? You guys sell one house to one person, they refer to another person, and then over the next 10 years, all of a sudden you look up and look how many people that turned into. Content is the same exact way. So, as far as equipment goes, I mean, like I said, you can get by with your iPhone. You know, if you want cameras and different lists, I'm actually going to give that to you at the end. So you guys can get our exact list. You guys can get our courses and everything else. I'm going to give it to you for free. All right? So just know, equipment-wise, you don't need to break the bank. Your iPhone is a really good tool. But if you want to get the expensive stuff, I'll give you a list. How often should you film? For me, I'm a big fan of just filming batch. So like, dude, if you could just spend 1 day a week just getting your content done, and then the rest of the 6 days you go do your thing like normal, I think that's the best way to start.
Before we go to the next one, I come back and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I gotta go. And they're like, what do you mean? We have another 3 hours with you. Do you not want this opportunity? I'm like, listen, I gotta go. I like went down, got in the Range Rover, and just drove off. And I didn't know what to do, and I was freaking out. I was like, I totally blew it. But the one in the relationship who has all the power is the one who cares the least. So what did those casting directors do up there? Like, that guy just doesn't care. Cast him right away. I got a call the next day, and they were like, you were the most interesting person they followed around. It's like, really? I don't know what that says about everybody else that you met with. Okay? But that was really kind of when I started to think about brand and how I could control my own brand. Outside of TV and everything else, how I do deals, how I negotiate with people. And it's all about that and. And maybe you've heard me talk about this before, but as I break down brand strategy, because it's actually easier now than ever before to build brand, but it's also harder now than ever before. Because now you can do everything in your phone. You don't need to be on Bravo. Who watches cable TV anymore anyway? Right? You don't need to do anything. You don't need to run paper ads, print. I can't even remember the last time I paid for anything in print, ever, in any of the markets that we're in. Okay? Because you have the total power to hit everybody in your phone. You can create your own TV show right now. Do it vertically, do it on TikTok, as long as you're consistent. You can do it on YouTube, right? A little bit harder now than it used to be, because 10-minute long-form content isn't really long-form anymore. 30 and 40 minutes is now long-form. Or you're going super short-form and going vertical and you're doing shorts. And you're trying to attract kids who are gonna have influence over the parents who make decisions on buying or selling real estate. That's the whole reason I set up a media group in 2016.
I actually won the VIP experience by just sharing about the KFA Summit and inviting as many people as possible. So that was an incredible accomplishment, a personal accomplishment, I should say, and I am truly, truly honored. I got to sit front row and I was just soaking up every minute of that experience. I was on fire. I thought it was absolutely incredible. Ricky Carruth from Gulf Shores, Alabama was amazing. He had me on the edge of my seat.
I think that we've been programmed as agents to think certain things, like the only way to get a listing is to call a seller and say, hey, would you consider selling? Or I got a buyer. That's not the only way to get listings. But we've been programmed to think that way. What if you called a seller and said, hey, I see you've got a 3-bedroom. Do you need a 4? I got a really nice one I'd love to show you. Oh, now we're providing value. And they're like, this is different. That was the first year I did 100 deals. Coincidentally, the year I quit everything, I started like crushing it, right? I sold 100 deals that year. I sold 100 deals for 8 years in a row after that, as a single agent. I didn't have a team. I have a buyer's agent. I have listing agents. I have marketing. I have one admin doing just the transactions coordination and MLS stuff. I did all the listing appointments, showings, closings, inspections, all that stuff. A lot of people hear that and they're like, oh my God, you didn't have a life, did you? You know how many hours I was working?
How many of it took?
25 hours a week. Selling 100 properties a year. A lot of people don't believe that. It's a fact.
Essentially, the two of them, Paris does all the preparation for the listing, pulls together all the collateral, our writer, the whole experience that we deliver to the client, and then Lisa helps me on the.
And most of the folks that showed up had no idea what KFA was about. I mean, even if they went to the event in 2023, they still were like, what is KFA? What does it stand for? What am I paying for? Like, what is this all about? What
is it, like the relocation channel, or like how would you do this?
Mine's a relocation channel, and everything we do is targeted towards relocation.
Got it. And specifically in
California. Yeah.
But also medical, you said?
Anyone that has, going back to the Hannah was saying, STEM people like information. So
Yeah.
medical, engineers, attorneys, those are the type of people that gravitate towards it.
I mean, money aside, it was so valuable. Honestly, I think that they should have made the tickets more expensive. So, something to keep in mind for next year. But that's how I felt about being there. Every second, every minute was well planned out.
Crazy as that is, we're still the most affordable spot on the West Coast, that has a population of, I think Albert was saying earlier, like 250 and higher. And so 250,000 people and more. We're at around 520. 520,000 is around, we're just over that. And so the capital gains tax, though, is critical because that gives us a competitive edge. We are the only state on the West Coast. We're the southernmost point in the I-5 corridor without an income tax. Capital gains tax is an income tax, right? And then it doesn't hit real estate, but to think that it won't end up expanding into that, which is typically what we see, I think that's, you're playing with fire. So
The alligator, because that's exactly what I said. Because I'm too embarrassed to acknowledge that I didn't want to type something. Because most of us, we're not actually afraid of being failures, right? No one really has a fear of failure anymore. I think we used to have a fear of failure because failure actually came with ramifications. Like used to. You got that job and you were fired, that was a fail, and that fail came with unemployment. And if you didn't get into that school, you were never going to go get that job. And that would come with, what? A lesser life, that's a fail. But today, I love that acronym, that fail means first attempt in learning. Right? Which is true, it really is today. And I think most of us don't have a fear of failure anymore. Right? I think most of us actually have a fear of being embarrassed. We're all afraid of embarrassing ourselves. And yet at the same time, we know no one cares. So it's like, what are we so afraid of?